if I understand well the question, how do people go from, an internship level to something higher? And I mean, the best ambition would be obviously the C-suite of a company. That's definitely the case. I mean, it was a massive honor for me in the past 5 years to be involved, from a strategic decision-making standpoint of the companies I worked for. Well, it's definitely not overnight. Let's put it like this. So my particular story, maybe somebody's interested in, just to give an example of how it can be, maybe that's the best way to answer this not easy question. But, my first work experience was as an intern, as in a non-paid kind of job, sitting at the desk of a broker shop. I literally just, knocked on a few doors. I was living in Geneva back in the days. And there were definitely, ample selection of shipbrokers geographically located around me. So I just knocked on a few doors. One of them gave me the opportunity to just sit, next to a senior person and just look at what he did and try to understand, how the work was being done. And yeah, that's what I did for 2-3 months until that understanding led me to potentially opening a deal opportunity for the senior broker. And they saw something in me, perhaps. I'm always thankful, of the opportunity they gave me because they signed a full-time contract with me after those 3 months of what we can call, internship, or whether it's an internship or, some time spent on the desk. Obviously, it doesn't matter. But, we define it with labels today. But back in the day, it was just, sit next to somebody older than you. So that's how it started. And eventually, I think, what led me to where I am today is just like the one thing that I always feel I have for what I do is passion. Like I always try to put 100% of myself in every small task. I'm very detail oriented. I think that's one of the biggest key of my, if we want to call it success, but it's simply, just continuing being oriented towards all the small details, day by day, hour by hour, trying to really, give my best at what I was doing. And sometimes it gets recognized, sometimes not. So obviously it's not an easy flow. You have to always push for that recognition. But that's obviously normal in the world that we live in. And, that's another part of the answer is, I work very hard, but definitely, try to get the results in as materially as possible so that, you can grow. And just a bit of good luck as well sometimes. And that's how I guess the transition was made over the years. I mean, long story short, obviously not to go into all the details of every single passage from a work perspective, but I did find myself, aiming as well for bigger responsibilities, and I felt confident that I could take those bigger responsibilities as well. So another part of the answer is, try to have as much confidence as possible in your potential and your capabilities, and people will believe in you. So yeah, that's a bit of the rounded up answer.